Welcome to Digital Investing School. This is our weekly trade review. What we're going to cover today are the 4 points that we cover every single week. So number one, we're going to look at this Cummings fundamentals. We're then going to transition into the US dollar index as well as correlations. From there, we're going to be analyzing the four pairs, euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar yen, dollar CAD. And then from there, we'll be looking at high probability levels and structures within these pairs so we can begin looking for trade setups. Before we get into it, also, if you haven't done so, stay connected with the school, digitalinvestingschool.teachable.com/blog. We'll be uploading this on our trade blog, as well as we're launching Forex institutional trade signals, where we're going to be actually analyzing the markets from a deeper fundamental perspective in line with the institutions and hedge funds. So if you're interested in taking advantage of these trade setups, we're averaging currently anywhere from 300 to 500 pips each and every month with these signals. So you can subscribe to that. And then, of course, our Foundation to FX course. We're running a promotion right now for brand new students. So if you are looking to take that course, this would be the perfect time for you to enroll because prices will be going up. So let's begin. Let's begin by looking at this week's economic calendar. So we have events happening each day of the week. As you can see, we have a lot of speeches going on. FOMC members giving speeches, as well as President Draghi for the ECB. On Thursday, we also have retail sales being released October 13th and CPI. So Friday, we should definitely see some volatility. We should see some volatility with Draghi giving his speech as well as with the other FOMC members. So it's very important. You know, if you're a swing trader, obviously this may not be as important because you're looking at a larger time frame. So the short-term volatility doesn't really make or break your setups. If you're a short-term trader, just be aware of the times you're entering and times you're exiting. Obviously, with these news events, this can definitely cause some unexpected moves in the market. So let's look at the dollar index really quickly. So last week, we had the non-farm payrolls, and we saw a rejection at the resistance level, as well as our supply levels right in here. So we can see 94.29 has been a level that's been respected multiple times. At the same time, we didn't get quite the response I had hoped for. So, you know, to me, we still have this bullish biasness. I feel like there's still some more upward possibilities within the dollar index. Now, let's go to the weekly chart and get a better view of how the week finished. Okay, so if we look at how the week finished, we can see that price did try to rally up and take out these highs. It actually ran this high out. This high is still intact. But we're still, you know, in that corrective look. It still looks like a correction. I don't see the kind of momentum that would indicate a trend change or a reversal. Now, looking at what's happening, if we analyze the structure, let's go to a 4-hour, we can see that the dollar has been in this corrective structure. So we've actually created a 1-wave, 2-wave, 3-wave correction, and now it looks like we're pulling back. This is going to be our determining factor. Where does price go from here? Is price going to reject off our clean breaking point, or is price going to bounce off our order block right here, our bullish order block? Or is price going to break below all of this, clear out these stops, and maybe retest some of these untagged levels? So these are the different possibilities. At the same time, we're above our 50-day and 200-day moving average. So, you know, right now our structure is still intact as far as an uptrend is concerned. Once we start seeing structure breaks, such as these lows, we'll be looking for, let me just give you an illustration. So if we see price break, we then want to wait for a retest. We then will wait for our confirmation that this level holds. And once we see that, we'll take it all the way down. Right? So that's what we're going to be looking for. At the same time, we might see price actually bounce from this point, this level right over here. We might see price come into this level and then continue up and close that range. So those are the two scenarios on the dollar index. Now, if we look at everything else, such as gold and the 10-year bonds, it's going to give us another view, or I should say it's going to give us a confluence of the bias of the dollar because these pairs are very correlated. So what I mean is, as the dollar weakens, gold goes up. So these are reverse correlations, right? These are negatively correlated. So looking at gold right now, we saw that gold responded very nicely at the level 1267, which obviously we have our liquidity levels right in here. we're now in this range. So we came into support. We're now going to be moving towards this resistance level, 1289. We're going to be watching and waiting to see what takes place. Now, if the dollar does become bullish again, we should see this level or this area reject price, and price should come back down again. I'm not sure if it's going to actually break this low or not, but that's what we'll be watching for. At the same time, if the dollar becomes bearish, then we should see gold actually break resistance, and then from there, pull back to retest, and then from there, we'll be looking for our next move. Now, we have resting liquidity right here at our previous high at 1257, and we have our other area of liquidity right here at 1277. So we have liquidity here at the highs. We also have resting liquidity right here at these lows. So we're going to watch and see where price goes from here with gold. Okay, so let's go on to our charts now. Okay, what we want to look at now is the euro pound, and again, we like to correlate the strength of the euro or pound just by looking at this pair. So if we look at our weekly chart, we had a bullish finish on this pair here. We can see a massive engulfing candle right at an area of liquidity on the weekly. So the euro has definitely gained massive momentum against the pound. And if you were watching the pound dollar, you definitely would have seen that price reaction. Now, price is moving into our moving average here. We also have an area of liquidity right here at this point. So we can see that price stalled right there. Let's get deeper. Let's go drop a time frame. So just looking at structure, we can see that price actually broke this trend line. Actually, when was this? This was September 11. We saw this price break the structure. It could be that price is moving back towards it to retest. So we're going to be watching how price responds at these levels here. So we're going to be waiting to see if we get a reaction here, basically within this range. So let me just go ahead and highlight this range here that we're interested in seeing what price actually does. So we might see price come into this level and then reject, and so we might see an A to B pull back to C and then C to D right over here. So we have our A to B, B to C, C to D. And so typically these will be measured moves. So if this is our A to B, then we should see price do something like this based on where it rejects from. So if price is moving this level, we see rejection. It should have one more leg down, which would actually help us get into this area here where we have all this liquidity, and we would probably close out this range, possibly even break out these stops. So if that's the case, that would mean that the euro would actually be weak. We should see weakness in the euro if this scenario actually falls through, and then the pound should be bullish just based on this concept here on the daily chart. But let's go to our 4-hour chart to really look even closer what's happening. Let's look at the kind of structures that's being formed on the smaller time frames here. So we can see that we've definitely have created some massive momentum. You know, we've got our big impulse leg out. We've now stalled. Let me actually go ahead and delineate our resistance levels here. We have our bearish order block right here. So we've stalled right there at that level. So we're going to wait and see. You know, price could pull back and then continue up. We might see price actually break this this support level here on this trend line, and from there we might see price move the next leg down. So, you know, at the end of the day, again, we're using the euro pound as a form of correlating the strength of the euro dollar as well as the pound dollar. So let's move into euro dollar. Let's go ahead and look at what happened last week. So here is the euro dollar on the daily. So interesting. Finally, price has actually moved below this consolidation that we've been in since the beginning of looks like since the beginning of August or mid-August. So we finally broke below support, we retested, we dropped again, and just notice how price hasn't really been aggressive in the move. So we're in this corrective structure at the moment. One thing to take note of, and this is what I was waiting for this past week, was to see if this low, again, we have our areas of liquidity, resting stops and orders and all. So this area is still untagged, which means there's still orders here, there's still liquidity here. Now look at what happened. Let's look at structure on the 4-hour. So we see price has, we had this nice impulse move down, and now we have this corrective structure that we're in. So just looking at the structure itself, you know, we can see that these we have our 1, 2, 3, our 3 lows that have been tagged. This is also considered like a wolf wave setup. I'm not going to really get too much into that right now. It's part of our patterns, our price pattern mastery course. But we have a wolf wave corrective structure in motion, as we can see. And so basically, we might see price break out of this resistance level. And so if price actually breaks out from here, we're then going to wait for an opportunity to pull back, retest, and then from there, look for that next leg up. So we're looking to see if this is going to be, this could be just simply a fake out, making people think that price is going to drop down and continue to drop down. And again, the reason why is because look at where these stops are. Look at where this stop is. Price basically, it's like teasing everybody. Almost came into it, left it alone. We'll see. Maybe price might revisit and break it, and then at that point continue up. Again, this is an area of open liquidity. It has yet to be closed. So we're going to be watching to see the reaction as price moves towards resistance. So it's possible we'll see a scenario out and then up. At the same time, we might see price actually move out and fail to break and then break these lows. And at that point, we'll be looking for maybe some confirmation. So we'll see it. Maybe it's going to be like a trap as an example. Might move up. Sometimes price likes to do that, fake everybody out, take out these stops, but then in fact continue down further. And if we see structure break like that, we're going to pull the same scenario where we're going to wait for a retest, wait for our confirmation, and then from there we'll enter and take our trade further down. So that's our scenario with the euro dollar. So this could potentially be a head and shoulders in formation. We're just going to need to wait and see how price responds at 1833. So we're in this tight range right now, about 200 pip range. So we're just going to wait and see what happens. So at the moment, short term, Monday, Tuesday, I guess when was Draghi's speech? Let me just look at that really quick. That would be, Thursday. So by Thursday, obviously we'll know exactly where we're at as far as directional premise is concerned. But, if the dollar remains to be bearish, then we should see this pair begin to rally for sure, right? And at the same time, if the dollar becomes bullish, then we should see this pair drop. But I'm leaning towards seeing price actually break out of this structure. And then from there, kind of maintaining this range. So I expect that we'll probably stay within this range this week. Now let's go on to pound dollar. Let's see what's going on there. We saw a major rejection off this trend line. I've been watching this trend line now for probably the last couple of weeks, and finally price has moved into that level. We saw price actually close this gap right here from Brexit. So we had that Brexit move. Price has finally come into it, and we saw our rejection. So looking at the candles, the price action, notice how we had a major move in, strong bullishness, then we had a doji, a second doji, and then we had a major drop. And so this is interesting because if we look at what's happened with the dollar, right, the dollar was really, really bearish. But yet we're seeing in this pair that the dollar was bullish. So in fact, it's not that the dollar was bullish. What happened was the pound lost its strength. So the pound actually got really, really weak against the dollar. So that's what led to this move. And so what ended up happening is prices moved into this area of supply. We have a confluence of trend line, which is like a monthly trend line. We have a major resistance level as well, 136.5 mid-figure. And then we see price has just moved down, has broken structure, and now is like resting right above the 200-day moving average. So what we're seeing here is we have a liquidity block right here. So we're just waiting to see, is price going to bounce from here? Are we going to maintain this structure of this uptrend that we've been in? It looks like we're moving right into this area. So we're going to wait and see how price responds. At the same time, we have our liquidity levels, our stops right here and here. So we're going to be watching and waiting to see what happens. Let's go back to the euro pound really quick. Just to kind of gauge what we were seeing. So we see this move up. So this indicated euro strength, pound weakness, hence why we saw the pound dollar drop. Now, if price actually begins to reject from here and actually begins to drop from here, then we should see the pound dollar begin to correct. So we're going to wait and see. At the same time, we might see this pair continue to go up and in turn pushing the pound dollar further down. So, it's interesting because as we're moving into these levels, we'll notice that the euro pound's moving into a level, the dollar's moving to a level. It's crazy how everything works together. It's like organized chaos. But the key thing is, the more you're looking at these charts and understand the story it's telling you, the more precise you're going to be with your trading and your setup. So, and that's the purpose of this, is really not to tell you where to get in, where to get out, but more so to talk about these areas that we're seeing on these charts that are really high probability and really begin to connect the dots for the story of what price is telling us. So looks like we have some room to go. We're going to be watching and waiting to see where we go from here. So we're going to be watching 129 mid figure as well as 129 big figure. So we're going to be watching this confluence area right here for a potential bullish reaction. Okay, so let's continue on to the dollar yen. So the dollar yen has been bullish over the last couple of weeks. We actually caught the bottom of this trade. What a trade that was. Now, if we look at the overall structure on a larger time frame, we can clearly see impulse move out, and then now we've been in this correction. So this basically looks like a bullish flag formation on a larger time frame. Now, it's interesting because we see price actually cleared out these lows, so that area has been closed. We have now liquidity here. Price has moved into our supply level, our order block, and has held for about a week straight. Price has tried to penetrate, has failed, and we have a nice spike into that level from non-farm payrolls. But just looking at the structure really quickly, I'm not convinced yet that this is going to be the final push up. We still have our structure intact here. And just looking at the overall structure of price for the dollar yen, it doesn't really show me. I'm not convinced that this is it. I think we have some more momentum to the upside. I think there's still more left. So we're going to be watching and waiting to see what takes place. So what we're going to see here is we're going to see this low get tested again. So obviously we see price move up, came down, tested it, bounced, came down, tested it again, and from there ran out all these stops, and now we saw a nice reaction. So just on this 4-hour candle, very, very significant. Price is now sitting on a 50-day moving average. So, we're going to be waiting to see, okay, how does price respond? Obviously, you don't want to buy a falling dagger, if you will. We want to wait to see price stall. We want to look for the price action at the level to give us a confirmation before we can say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and buy it off support and take it back to resistance. It's possible, too, we might see a break of this level and it can drop down to 111,465. So we'll be watching these areas on the dollar yen. And again, if the dollar remains bearish, we should see this pair continue to drop. If the pair becomes bullish again, the dollar becomes bullish, then this should result in this pair moving up. Now let's look at our other yen pairs to get an idea of the correlation. So again, we see the pound yen. This actually is correlating heavily with the pound dollar. We see major reaction at this resistance level. Price is now sitting at previous resistance turn support. So we're right there at that level. So we're going to wait and see. I think we'll probably move a little deeper. I think we might actually come and test this area here at 145 to 146 big figure. So we'll be watching this area. Let's go down to this is a weekly chart. Let's go to a daily chart, and there we go. So we have our major area we want to be watching for, which would be this candle here. So we're going to be waiting for a reaction off 146.4. If price stalls here, we'll be looking for price to maybe move right back up. At the same time, we might see price break this level, and if price does clear, we'll be looking for an opportunity to short based on a retest of a broken support, and then from there turn resistance, and then we'll be looking for an opportunity to take it further down. So we're going to wait for structure to form and then determine our next leg and where we're going to go from here. Okay, lastly would be our dollar Canada. Let's pull up our dollar CAD really quick. So while that's loading, we have the oil chart as well on here. So we're going to give it a second. There we go. Okay, with the dollar CAD, man, we were waiting for this pair to drop, and it didn't drop, and it's kept going up, and that just shows you that, you can't predict what price is going to do. Price is going to do whatever it's going to do. But anyways, let's look at oil. Let's look at what's going on with oil first. So on a weekly chart, we've been in this range, this weekly range. It's now, we've seen price move up, and we see price has corrected down and moved up again. Looks like it's correcting again. We're now moving above our 50-day moving average. So on the weekly chart, we're above the 50-day moving average. On the daily chart, we're right at that 50-day moving average. So we're going to wait and see what happens. We're going to see how price responds. We're going to look for these levels here. I like this level here. We have that level here where we can see price came up, broke through, retested, and then price has dropped. So this is actually the real level we want to be looking at. So that would be our breaker, which cleared all stops. Now we see price drop below, found support, retest. Now if we're finding support at that 50-day moving average, as well as holding right here at this area of liquidity at $49 a barrel. So we're going to be watching and waiting to see what happens if price is able to hold above this level. Is this going to be a new leg of support, or is it a short-term support and we'll see price break right through it? So let's go down to a 4-hour. Let's go down to a 4-hour and just analyze structure here real quick. So we can see this nice move. So we have very symmetrical movement here. We can see that prices dropped and then consolidated, then dropped, then consolidated. Prices run up right into our area of liquidity right here. And then we can see prices rejected. I'm going to delete this right here so that's not in our way. And then price has now found support, cleared out these lows. So we see all stops have been cleared. We're now sitting right at this candle right here. So this candle is the candle where price is finding support. So this is where we're finding, this is the reason why price is stalled, okay? So now what's happening at this point? Well, we're gonna have to wait and see. Are we gonna see price move back up and retest this level of support, broken support? Is price gonna continue further down? It's possible we might see price move down to these lows and clear out these stops as well as these stops. So we're gonna watch and see what happens, see what takes place. But overall, we're seeing this downward momentum. So we're gonna maintain a bearishness with oil. So looking at that, we know that oil and the dollar CAD are negatively correlated. So when oil is going up, this pair should be dropping. So this pair has been going up, so hence oil has been dropping, right? So looking at price action, we can actually see, let me actually get rid of this. We have our stops intact right here, 126.66. Not a good price. Too many sixes. Bottom line is we're in this area of resistance. We have our supply level here. We have all our sellers that sold out right here, hence why we had this move out. Prices moved in. We're now holding above this key level of resistance turn support at 124.3. So we see price slowly moving up. Nothing crazy, nothing explosive. So it might be running out of momentum. So we're going to watch and see what happens here. If this level holds, we're going to wait to see, okay, if price can actually break this level of support. If so, then we should see price come back up to retest. And at that point, we're going to be looking for price to move down to back down to the lows again. So we're going to wait and see what is going to happen here with the dollar CAD. So we're right now in a significant area of resistance where we did see a slight rejection. Nothing crazy. I expected to see maybe a bigger reaction off of the non-farm payrolls, but didn't get what I had expected. So price actually looks like it's probably going to move up a little. It's probably going to move up again. So we're going to wait and see. Maybe it's not ready as of yet to completely drop. So we're going to wait and see what happens. We have our structure that we're going to be monitoring. Until this structure gets broken, we're still going to maintain a bullish stance on the dollar CAD. At the same time, we're now moving back into the 50-day moving average. So we're going to wait and see how price responds right here at this area of liquidity. We have our liquidity block right here, 124.499 and 124.862. So we'll be watching and waiting to see what takes place on Monday and Tuesday, since we do have economic news. I believe it is. Oh, I don't have the information there. Yeah, but we do have Canadian news on, I believe it's Tuesday. So we'll be watching to see that price reaction. At the same time, we can see this move is just an overall corrective move that will eventually break. So once we see this trend line snap, we'll see some type of retest. We'll be looking for the opportunity to take it further down. So that concludes our weekly trade review. If you haven't done so, again, make sure you go to our website at digitalinvestingschool.com, and that way you can get all the information as far as our courses, our signals, everything that we have lined up. We're going to be sending out some signals probably Monday afternoon, so we have a lot that we've been waiting for to take place, but you want to make sure you take advantage of everything that we have happening so you can start making money while you trade. It's important, obviously, you're trading, but at the same time, if you're just getting started, you want to use demo accounts. If you want to start trading money, as long as you're using proper risk, by using some of our trade signals, it will definitely help you make some profits during your trading week. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.